Today, I am building a birdhouse. Here are the plans. Please pause and take a screenshot for your reference. After watching the video, if you still have questions, please comment. I'll try to answer them for you. Thanks. Okay, so my B measurement on the plans, I'm probably going to make it. It don't have to be precise. It's up to you. So I've got a board here that is about 6 inches wide. And so that'll be my Y measurement. And I'm going to make it, I think I want it about 9 inches tall or so. So I'll give myself a little bit here. I'm going to cut about 19 inches. So you can mark this if you want. It don't have to be precise. It's about 19 inches. Like I said, it's not that important. And then we're going to get a saw and we're going to cut it.
Power tools for this. Be nice to have a sharper saw. This is pretty dull saw that I just got. A yard sale.
There we go. So that's going to be about 19 inches. We're going to mark the center of this. It's 19 inches. So that's 9.5. 9.5 inches would be the center. I'm going to mark that. And we really just want this to go through the center. Okay. And this is for the slope. And this doesn't have to be precise either. You can put as much slope on this as you want. I'm just going to put a little bit of slope on this. And if I measure this up, that's about 8 3/4. If I measure this up, it's about 8 3/4. It doesn't have to be precise at all, but that's close enough. If you had an old picnic table, and not one of them old wooden picnic tables or some sawhorses, something short, even a log out in the woods that you could put your foot down and hold this, you could do it with just that. If you had a sharp saw, this would go so much faster. Of course, you can use power tools if you want. If you got kids or grandkids and you don't want to use power tools, you can do this whole project with hand saws, hammers. So all I did here, now I can flip this over, and it's not exact, but it's really not going to matter. Okay, so one of these is going to be the inside, one's going to be the outside, and there's our slope. Okay, however you want to do this, not a big deal. Okay, our sides, the board we use for our sides is about 6 inches, and all this stuff is just whatever board you have around. For the front and back, you want it to be a little smaller. This is about 5 inches, so it's about an inch less. And then I want my A measurement to be the front distance, so my front's going to be about 8.5 inches. So that's what we're going to cut here. And again, it doesn't have to be precise. I'll just mark it real quick. This is close. It's not even square. It really doesn't have to be. Okay, there's the front. And then that's the front measurement. That's the front measurement. The back measurement is our B measurement, and it's going to be about 10 inches. So we're going to move this up. And again, if you're off by an inch or so, it's not a big deal on this project. It has no functionality. It's all aesthetics. So this is not perfection. Your bluebirds or your birds, call them bluebird boxes, but I see all kinds of birds staying in these nests. sometimes at lumber yards you can get scrap wood that is this long for free. And it don't even have to be dry wood. It can be green wood. You can build this with green wood. Okay, so there's our front and our back. Okay? So here you go. So here's your front, here's your back, and here's your two sides, just like that. Now the top, you could take this board and just cut another piece that overlaps that, which we can do, or you can take a piece of metal or a piece of, cheap siding of any kind, whatever you have. That's what I like about this project, whatever kind of scrap pieces you have laying around the house or around the farm. You can build this with your kids or grandkids. It's a great little project. So now we are going to go ahead, you can screw this or nail it. I'm probably just gonna use some old scrap nails I have. So for the nails, you can use screws or nails, but I got these box of old nails that I'm not gonna use for anything else. They're already rusted.
I got that up top there. Put the nail in.
Hopefully you can get that out of your way. Probably not a bad idea to pre-drill these. If it's green wood, it'll be easier to, but this is pretty seasoned wood. This has been dry on my property for a while.
Put this right here. All you're doing is attaching these. Nothing difficult.
Good project to teach your kids how to hammer. If I can show you what we're doing, right like that.
And like I said, none of this is important as far as if you're off by a half inch or an inch or so. It's not a big deal. I got the drill bit about the same size as the screw, but I'm not drilling through the second board.
I built some of these probably 8 to 10 years ago with my kids when they were younger. And they're just about where they might need replaced. I'm probably not going to replace them. They probably got 3 or 4 more years left in them, but they'll last you at least a decade. Kids, if you're watching this, I'm not talking about replacing you. It's the birdhouse. That did squeeze that into where it's pretty tight. So we may need to, that's pretty tight, which is okay. That's where the boards are warped. The top's got to be able to come down. You can do this either way. You can rotate the top down, and so you can put your nails down here and rotate the top down, or you can put your nails up here and rotate the top up. I'm gonna do the top up. I kind of like that method, so it's up to you. Nothing really rocket science here.
So there's our rotation. Put a couple nails in here.
Now that should rotate up. There we go. That'll rotate up. See that? That's what we're going to use, and that's just to clean it out. So later on we'll clean the box out. So here's what we have. So now we got to get this measurement right here. This is where I said probably want to be about, that's the distance of this board. It's about 5 1/4 by 4. 5 1/4 by 4. So that's the smaller board of the two. So we'll come over here. This is about 5 1/4, so we just need to get this about 4 inches. This one's probably a little more critical of a measurement because you've already got this defined. So you pretty much want, this is probably the one you want to measure a little closer than the rest. Okay, and then for water drainage, we want to cut off these corners. Nothing critical here. doesn't have to be perfect at all. So you're just cutting a few corners off. You could do this with a chisel too. Yeah, get you a sacrificial board like that. And then let's get us a chisel and get us a mallet. And you could cut the edges off with a chisel like that. Just as quick. That's probably quicker than a saw. Right like that. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're just chamfering those. So let me get this saw out of the way. So that when we put this in, it will let water come out the edges there, so there won't be any water buildup. So
and I might put one up front here. Now we're gonna put our screws in. That nail's not really good. That one in. Like that. And this one. Like that. And we're gonna put a couple in here. These are all rusted screws. They just got hold for another decade. They'll be good.
So there's your bottom. So you can see how imperfect this is, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So this is a little tight right there. I'm gonna clean it up just a little bit with a hand plane, I think, or a chisel. Take a chisel. It's a little tight in there, so we can just take and clean that up a little bit with the chisel. There we go. Still a little tight. I'm gonna take just a little bit off here. If you have wood at the store, if you're getting like a pine board, this board here was all warped. It was warped every which way. The dimensions are not the same, so it might be 5 1/4 inches in one spot, and this rough cut board, 5 1/4 inches might be 5 1/8 down here, so it was not the same. So all I'm doing there is just making this where it's easy to open. Okay. I'll have to add me a little knob or something to make that easy to pull up in the future. Or what I do sometimes is this is where I put a screw, a weather screw, and then you can use the screw to open it up. I think that's what I'll do because it just works really easy. Okay, so this is the clean out. So this does need to come up, so do not drive a nail in here. This is probably the only part that I'm used. I have to use a power tool. I shouldn't say that though. I'm gonna put a screw in here by choice. You could not put anything here, but you need to attach a knob or something to this just so you can pull it out. Or you'll have to come out in the future and put like a screwdriver in the bottom of your thing and pry it open. It's up to you. I find that the screw is really nice, but if you don't have any power tools, most people have a drill. So we're gonna put that in right like that. And that's probably good. I'll probably just leave it out like that. If I ever want to move it, I just have to get my drill out and I'll loosen this up. And then that gives me a knob to pull this up. I'll show you. So if I pull this out, whenever I go to clean it, I get it out of the wood there, then I can use this as my pull. But it's up to you, whatever you want to do. I find that pretty convenient. And so I'm just going to put that in. You don't have to put it in all the way. No need to do that. It's just kind of holding it there. And now we got to put our hole in, or our top, either one we want to do first. So we can get the side boards and put it on here, but there wouldn't be much overlap. So I like to have a little bit of an overlap. I kind of want an overlap over here. Don't have to have it, but I like a little overlap. So I'm probably going to put a piece of metal or some T150 or whatever that siding's called. I have some T111 laying around. It's going to make this look a little different, but I think that's what I'll go ahead and use. So I'm going to cut that out. a little overlap will give it a little bit more rain protection. So here we are, I'm just gonna come in here. This is not a sharp saw, but I didn't pay much for it. I got it at some guy for a couple bucks, so. You don't need high quality tools. You can go to, if you don't have get a cross-cut combination saw, and if you don't have one, Lowe's, Menards. I got the cheap one at Menards one time, Mastercraft or whatever, and I built a whole playhouse for my kids where I cut hundreds of boards. And when they're new, they are sharp, and you don't need a power tool. Now you can do all of this with a circular saw, chop saw, if you want to make this process a little faster. But I kind of like to use it for young kids to learn how to use some of these hand tools. So there's our top. You could paint this if you wanted. Or like I said, I think it would look better. The ones I did before, I actually used the same material as the sides or had some other material. But I'm going to use that right there like that. And that gives me a little bit of an overlap on the sides and on the front, so the water will come right off here. I kind of like that.
But I don't really have any, so I'm just gonna come in here with a couple. See if I can get this. Some of these nails are rusty. Here we go. Yeah. I need to put one up front here too. I mean, I don't know, you could. Don't have to.
Okay, you could use an old auger, but I don't have any bits that are big enough for that. So I had to get out the Forstner bit. But you want a hole for the Eastern bluebirds, you want 1.5 inches, they say on the internet. And for Western bluebirds, you want a 1/16 more, 1 9/16 inches. I don't really think they're that particular, but that's what the internet says. I don't know if I was exact on mine or not, but you want it to come down a couple inches. None of this is like, you have to be perfect. Oh. Like I said, if you want to, I never paint these things. I might paint this because it's got this T111 on here. I've never done one like that, but I might paint it like a red or something. But I like doing them out of this old rough sawn lumber. Just some cheap boards or pallets or something. Or if you can get some green wood at a sawmill, like I said, normally they have cutoffs that are free if you ask. But there you go. So there's our birdhouse completed. Now the way I normally mount these is I use EMT conduit and I use straps. I'll show you a picture, and I just put a couple straps on here, and then I use the conduit, and you can put these on tree stumps out in the woods or whatever you have around, poles. But if you just had a tree or a pole that you wanted to mount this to, you could just pull this up and then put you a couple screws into the post or the tree. That's another way that you could mount these permanently. Either option worked just fine. So I hope you can build you one of these simple bluebird houses, wren houses, whatever. All kinds of birds use them. It's a good project for you and your grandkids or you and your kids to do. So if you got any other ideas of projects you'd like to see, just let me know. Give me ideas, comment. Hope this is helpful. Hope you can build some of these before spring so that some of the birds can start building nests and you can enjoy them around your house. Thanks a lot.